Yes, folks, hello, welcome to Mod Extra Games and Collectibles. I'm Chris, this is my channel, and it's an absolute pleasure to have you with me here today. And in this video, it's time for my next installment of
Listen to your friend Chris,
which I ask you to listen to me, your friend Chris. I'm going to just pick a handful of adult collectible, gaming and action figure news that's caught my eye over the last week or so, gather it up, have a bit of a chat about it, and then invite you to head down to the comments below and have a further chat with me about it down there. So it's just stuff that this man-child has seen out and about, news, pre-orders, interesting things going on, whatever. But yeah, you're just here to listen to me chutter on for approximately 20 minutes about a few things that have caught my eye. So let's get into it, shall we? All right, ladies and gents, boys and girls, I've got my little white board thing on my iPad here, so I just dropped pictures on and stuff that I've seen out and about on the social medias, etc., from the adult collectible world. Big focus on action figure stuff for obvious reasons, but I'm going to start today by taking a look at the G.I. Joe classified leak list. This is from the Full Force podcast. They posted this round and about on their social medias. These are the secret computer codes, code language that go into, target ordering systems and things. I'm not entirely sure where these mystical computer codes come from, but they've deciphered a number of them. Somehow, they've got a full podcast episode on the subject, actually, which I'll confess I've not had an opportunity to watch myself before recording this today. But they've deciphered some of them there, so you can see that Shaggy and Frankenstone are the SMS Techno Viper and Raptor, that Scooby is the Cobra Ferret, which is exciting news. Muttley Pet, they believe, is Norgahide and the Boar. Elroy is Alpine, Judy is Iron Grenadier Bat, Betty is the Iron Grenadiers, Daphne is Starduster, Atlas they believe is Netless Immortal, then we've got a range of retros there, Retro Casey, Retro Tutor, Retro All-Star, Retro Brainy, which is Cobra Commander, Snow Serpent, Cobra Eels and Beachhead, the Action Marine, the Action Pilot, the two additional 60th anniversary celebration figures that we heard whispers about a week or two ago. Then the Night Creeper and the Dreadnought Torches, Astro and Jane. But there's more over and above that. There's many more Hanna-Barbera characters that have been listed on their little computer code stuff. In fact, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 of them there. So there's still 15 additional figures in the leaked list for 2024, which is obviously super exciting for G.I. Joe Classified Series fans. I was only thinking to myself earlier today, it's like, wow, I've had a big rush on G.I. Joe Classified, and then it's gone really quiet into the new year. I've not been receiving any pre-orders or reviewing any G.I. Joe Classified figures, which is unusual. It's a proper feast or famine line sometimes. Looking at the pre-order dates, I think we're going to have a mad rush around March, April time, which is going to be exciting as a collector, but not very exciting as a person with various personal financial management impulse control problems. You know what I mean? But great to see. Really excited. I will get around to watching the Full Force podcast episode on the subject because I'm curious to know how they've deciphered the names. Like how did Scooby get deciphered into the Cobra Ferret, and what could Space Ghost be? If there is a connection between the code word and the figure, then is that indicating we might be seeing something a little bit Space Forcey on the horizon? Who knows? There's a 2-pack in there. If you look on the first column, Whipsnake's 2-pack. There's another reference to an animal figure with Highway Pet, which could be interesting. We'll see what's... I saw quite a bit of speculation on that on the Discord as to what the character with Pet. Somebody mentioned actually on the Discord, although this is second-hand hearsay, I didn't see this myself anywhere, but that Lenny had mentioned that there's a character coming down the pipeline with a pet that has never had a pet before in in the vintage G.I. Joe lines. So yeah, really exciting. Obviously lots of stuff in the pipeline. There's also a great deal of talk about there being a February event, a live stream, which is probably going to get some of this stuff set up for pre-order. If I was to say which one I was most excited about, I'd probably say the Retro Cobra Commander. I've had a serious case of the FOMO with the Hiss tanks, but not because of the Hiss tanks, but because of the Cobra Commander figure. So if there was one that I had to pin down and say I'm really excited, it'd be Cobra Commander. But I will confess to some curiosity at this stage as to how different the retro version of the Snow Serpent and Beachhead will be to the mainline versions. Less concerned about the Snow Serpent, but really interested to see what they do with Beachhead. Because I've got the mainline one, you see, and I don't like doubling up on characters. So, yeah, I've left it on screen long enough for those of you who have decided to ignore me and examine that list, but it's out and about there. I'll put a link in the description down below to the Full Force podcast episode where they talk through it and work through it if you've not already seen it. But good times coming up in 2024 for G.I. Joe Classified fans. All right, next up then, I'm going to go over to McFarlane. Now, if you're a regular viewer of my weekly
listen to your friend Chris
installments, then you'll know that I'm quite salty about McFarlane toys at the moment. Less so, actually, about the price increase thing with this Crisis on Infinite Earths wave that everyone was talking about. I was a bit like, really? But now that they've indicated it's not a sign of future ongoing prices, I'm like, well, I'll just not buy them then. Can't afford them, not going to buy them, simple as that. But what I am salty about is the shipping situation here into UK and Europe. We've got the Wonder Woman pre-order that I mentioned should be shipping any day now. I got the email saying it's been delayed from the only retailer, Amazon, the only retailer here in the UK that had it listed, and now it's just sitting on, don't know when, unexpected. Don't know when the expected date is, kind of thing. So it's like, McFarlane are really screwing us over here. You know, if you're not a US customer, he's like, don't give a fuck. But these did catch my eye. The 7-inch Batman Animated Adventures figures. They look nice. They look all right. I actually don't think they're great figures all told, but I'll always pay attention to something that's Batman Animated Series because it's such an important cartoon to me and part of my kind of formative early nerd days as a young lad. So I'll always pause to take a look. They're based firmly based on the old DC Direct animated series characters. So, in fact, Two-Face, you can see it really quite clearly on Two-Face. You know, the articulation's a bit limited. Got a really weird hip joint in there, which is like, why? It's very odd, the engineering choice there around the hip joint. But they're, as display pieces, if the price tag is right, which I've forgotten. I did look it up, but I've forgotten what the price tag is. One sec, folks. I'll just have a quick look on my phone. I can't find anywhere here in the UK that's got them available for pre-order. So that's interesting. I'll go and have a look at some US sites. But if the price is all right, then the Two-Face looks really good. The Batman looks a lot better to me aesthetically than the DC Multiverse version of the animated Batman, although the belt could afford to be a little brighter in colour. However, much more limited in terms of articulation. Batgirl I'm less convinced by. She looks like if you sneeze too close to her, she'd break, which is unfortunate because it's a great character from the animated series. And then you've got the Croc baby face there, which again looks really awesome, but Croc's articulation is super limited. In fact, looking at this picture now, I didn't notice it before. I've literally just noticed there doesn't appear to be any knee joint on there at all. So they're good looking. They're nice display pieces. If you have powerful nostalgic feelings towards the Batman animated series like I do, if you're one of us, then this could very well be an appealing line. Although they have obviously just done a 6-inch Batman animated series wave as well. So unless is this wave 2? No, because they wouldn't do another Batman, would they? I've suddenly realised that I'm on a hot mic on camera and I've confused myself. I'm pretty sure these are 7-inch. Someone let me know in the comments down below. I can't be bothered re-recording. Okay, next on the list, what else have we got on my little notepad of things? Oh, yeah, okay, let's talk about this. So Super 7 have had a rough week or so, haven't they? I don't know if you've heard yet, but there was an interview on... Well, it's not the Fwoosh anymore, is it? What's it called now, the new version of the channel? The two guys, haven't they? Robo and, what's his face? Veebs have left the Fwoosh and set up on their own, and I've forgotten the name of what their new channel is. But in any case, there was an interview with Veebs and the top dude at Super 7, and they were sort of chatting through the lines and stuff, and news broke from there, I believe, although I did see a press release later on, that the Super 7 no longer has the Disney lines. So your Nightmare Before Christmas, your Muppets, your Simpsons, your Roger Rabbit, I think, is that under Disney? All that stuff, your animated movie stuff, all the various Disney lines are gone, both Reaction and Ultimate. So, yeah, and it was interesting, curious news to me, because I don't own a single Super 7 thing. Never have, and it's unlikely at this rate I ever will. They are just far too high priced for me compared to what I perceive the quality and the value of the figures are. Now, that's not to say I don't like the look of the figures, because I actually think that they do animated aesthetic really, really well, and it does appeal to me. This Devil Ned Flanders, for example, caught my eye. I have a miniature version that I like to put out around Halloween time. It's part of my little kind of Halloween display that I like to do in October. I've also got the a small version, a miniature version of Homer in the tall purple chair with the Bart Simpson Raven on the top from the poem, the Edgar Allan Poe poem, in like one of the very first Treehouse of Horrors episodes. But anyway, I like them. I like doing a little change around on my display to be seasonal. I've got a little October gathering of Halloween-y related stuff, monster-y related stuff, and this caught my eye. I thought, a larger version. I think they do the animated aesthetic really well. I mean, if we look at the Fantasia ballerina here, Hippo ballerina, looks awesome, and they've got other great stuff like the Queen of Hearts looks brilliant, and even some of the Reaction stuff looks really, really good, like good for display pieces if you like cartoon aesthetic. They're just very limited in terms of articulation. I've seen a lot of talk out and about that criticises their QC. You know, a lot of folks getting stuff with errors, faulty joints, accessories like two right hands and stuff like that with the hand swaps. So, and all of that thrown in the mix with the sort of 50 quid or whatever it is, $60 over in the US price tag just made me shy away. And I did see quite a few on clearance. In fact, Super 7, like over in the US, you see them turn up in B&M stores quite often, which are essentially our UK equivalent of a Ross. You know, these kind of budget volume kind of places. So I saw a couple of Super 7 Transformers and some Thundercats and Turtles stuff knocking around in one once. So I'm part of the problem, really, I suppose, because they did say in the interview that the reason these lines have died is because they just haven't sold as well, and they're operating very with a just-in-time kind of production model where they take in the pre-orders and they use the pre-orders to move to production to judge how many they should be producing, which is I'm not comfortable with, and I'm about to return to that subject with another company in a minute. So it's a shame, and it is a disappointment, but I think they've just priced themselves out. You know, it's just, for whatever reason, the cost of the license, or there's something wrong with their overheads in their supply chain, or I'm not sure, because I don't believe they justify that higher price tag, but I do think they do pretty good work. I mean, that the animated aesthetic of their figures, and go away and have a look at some of their stuff. Like, there's a line of figures called The Worst, and they look really awesome. They're dead cool. And I was thinking about some of the Muppets, what's his name? Mr. Teeth's band. I fancied an animal for my band in plastic, but I was hanging fire and waiting and seeing, they'll turn up on Forbidden Planet in the clearance, or see if they rook up on a B&M shelf sometime, and I didn't dive in and buy them, so I probably contributed to the problem overall. But sad news, because, I think they're, I've got no ill will towards Super 7, other than the fact that they're just, the price tag compared to my perception of the product quality is imbalanced. So if I'm spending 50 quid, I'd rather go and get a heavily sculpted like NECA movie figure, or step up into something like a Mezco or an SH Figuarts, rather than a Super 7. But if Super 7 was less, if it was more like 25, I'd be like, I'd pick up a Devil Ned for my little Halloween display. I'd get some of the band from the Muppets. I'd get, I don't know, Queen of Hearts to put out at Valentine's Day or something. I don't know, you know what I mean? So, rough week for Super 7. I feel for you, folks. Not that anyone from Super 7 had ever watched this, but there you go. All right, well, I'll stay kind of thematically in the same ballpark, kind of in a way. So this cropped up on the Fresh Monkey Fiction Instagram page. This is the Gridiron Commando. An early reveal, says very clearly there, look. Oof, early reveal from Operation Monster Force Season 3. And it's another very attractive looking figure. Obviously no paint applications there. They're just showing off the a render of the colourless figure right now. And also they're clearly leveraging very heavily their relationship with Gridiron Studios as the company that's designing their weapons, for the figures, which is fair enough. I would leverage it and get word out. I mean, they've even named this figure the Gridiron Commando, the weapons supplier, which is kind of a bit cute and funny, isn't it? Gridiron Studios obviously have an exceptional reputation for the loadouts and the weapon packs and stuff that they do. I don't own any Gridiron Studio stuff, but I've always been very envious of my mates out in the US who've got Gridiron stuff because it does look really tremendous, but it's quite expensive. I fully get that it's the price tag is reflective of the care, the attention, and the quality that's going into the items. I'm not disputing the price necessarily, but with shipping from the US to the UK, I'm basically doubling the cost. So I already feel like they're a bit of the higher edge of that budget band in action figure collectibles, and then with the shipping, it just goes right over the top. But I would absolutely, if I was Fresh Monkey Fiction, be leveraging that relationship because they do have a great reputation, and I'm forever drooling over pictures of their stuff when they come around on Instagram and on Facebook. But the reason I'm looking at this, in addition to sort of saying, there's a lot of folks like me who are kind of military figure collectors. I'm heavy into G.I. Joe, and this line, Operation Monster Force, has caught my eye. But what it did do is it made me go, hang on a minute, this is an early reveal for Season 3, and I've not even had my pre-orders for Season 1. In fact, I've not seen anything else about Season 1. Not seen any new promotional photos. They've not banged out any early preview copies to some of the big YouTubers. I mean, if you want a YouTuber, Fresh Monkey Fiction, to do an early preview of your figure, I'm just saying. Yeah. But nothing and I made my pre-order I've only gone in on a handful. I've sort of cherry-picked a few that caught my eye and I like the look of. But I made my pre-order of a couple of Season 1 figures back in October or November-ish, 2022. So we're over a year now since I've made the pre-order. And I suspect it's on a similar-ish kind of model in terms of Super 7. They acquire the pre-order, they do the pre-order campaign, get a feeling for the numbers, and then move to production once they've got a sense of the numbers that they need, because they're operating quite hand to mouth, aren't they? And again, just in time production, get the orders in and then make them to order in effect. So it's. Yeah, I don't know. I just saw this and was like, that looks really interesting. Looks great. Gridiron Studios are involved for the weapons. I knew that. Really, really buzzing. But you're showing me early reveals of a Wave 3 figure, and I've not had any indication that I'm anywhere closer to owning the Season 1 figures. I'm still a bit tentative about that, because without seeing a little bit of more promotional material or some, get a photographer to do some promo shots of the actual figures, anything like that. I'm a little tentative, and it just feels a bit giddy and overexcited on Fresh Monkey Fiction's part that they're advertising their third wave of a figure line that hasn't even been consumer tested yet. You know what I mean? That's not even been in the consumer's hands. Now, that said, they've obviously got a great reputation. I was about to point at my Santa that is no longer on the shelf. I enjoyed my Fresh Monkey Fiction Santa. I've heard people speak good things about them overall, so I'm not wildly concerned. I'm just like, come on. You're showing off Season 3. We're over a year for Season 1. And in addition to that, actually, in the description on the actual Instagram post, there's mention of Spring 2024. So the Q1, when is Q1? Is Q1 not now? January to March? Or they're operating on financial year. So yeah, we're not going to see them until at least April, May time anyway. So I don't know. So it looks great. Anyway, here he is. Look at him. Head swap, gridiron guns, great sculpting detail in there. Look at that. I'd be interested to see what kind of colour scheme they eventually settle in on him. Yeah, it looks great, but I'm just a bit like, rein it in a bit. You know, you need to, I don't know, deliver on something first, you know what I mean? All right, let's jump up here. This was just today, in fact. This is the Hasbro, where I got I'm on their mailing list, and I got this by email a little bit earlier on today. This is the G.I. Joe Battle for the Arctic Circle. It's a board game using the Axis and Allies game system, which I thought was really interesting. Now, this channel is, in fact, Mod Extra Games and Collectibles, and I think a few of you out there who are regular around these parts know that in addition to being a massive man-child nerd who plays with action figures, I'm a man-child nerd who plays with board games too. And so this was obviously going to catch my eye. It's been a long while since I played anything, certainly been a long while since I played Axis of Allies, but been a long while since I played anything of this kind of big box sort of strategic angle, because most of my gaming nowadays is family focused. I play with my wife and children, and we play a lot of games, and we mostly play what they like. Yeah, it's as simple as that. And trying to get them to sit down to play a military strategy game themed around G.I. Joe would just be a non-starter around these parts. But it did catch my eye because, you know, it's two worlds that I'm passionate about getting mashed together, the world of G.I. Joe and the world of tabletop board gaming. And I thought, oh, yeah, I'll take a close look at that. Interestingly enough, it's not, I can't find it on the UK Hasbro Pulse site at the moment. At least when I last checked, which admittedly was a few hours ago. So I don't know what's going on there. So, but I went and had a look on Amazon.com because I was still a bit like, maybe they're advertising 100 figures, little plastic miniatures in there. I thought, well, I'll go and have a look and see what the miniatures look like in any case, because there might be some cross-purpose appeal there. Or do a bit of reading up on it. And Renegade Studios, who I think that's their symbol in the corner there. I'm pretty sure it's Renegade Studios. Yes, it is. I've just had a look there on my G.I. Joe deck building game, and it absolutely is Renegade Studios, which I'd recommend, by the way. I enjoy this one. It's got a nice solo play variant for dads whose kids won't play G.I. Joe games with them, just incidentally. So there might be some folks out there who are like me, who are board gamers, tabletop gamers, as well as G.I. Joe fans, and take an interest over here because of the G.I. Joe classified coverage that I do, and might be interested in that. It's been a long while since I've done any actual games-related content on this channel. It has mostly been collectibles focused in terms of the Mod Extra Games and Collectibles. Mostly because, like I say, I just play what my kids like, and they never want to learn new games. They just like to play the ones that they like. And I'm not keeping up to speed enough to do unboxings and reviews of that nature. So anyway. I'm in the weeds. You're not interested in that. But if anyone's out and about who's a tabletop gamer, likes a bit of Axis and Allies, and has thought to themselves, as I often done, wouldn't it be nice to skin this up in G.I. Joe theme? Well, they've done it. They've got around to it finally. And the game studio that they've worked with, Renegade Studios, is good pedigree. Trust me, I've had hands on a number of their games. Warp's Edge is good as well. If you're a solo player. That's got a really great solo game, actually. Love that one. Anyway, I'm waffling again. Let's move on. So if anything's caught your eye there, I'll make sure there's links and whatnot down in the description below. So if things are on for pre-order, I'll link to the pre-order and whatnot so that you can go and investigate for yourselves. But that's everything I think for this week. If you're getting to know me a little bit, hanging around these parts, and you see something out and about that you think, oh, Chris would be into that, I'll send that his way, then please do track me down on Discord, track me down on Insta. In fact, I'll put my Insta and Twitter tags, I'll make them pop up on screen somewhere over there in a minute. But please do drop me a DM and say, hey, I think you might like the look of these, and I'll investigate. I'm always open to learning about new action figure lines or new interesting collectible stuff, or games and such like. Otherwise, if you've got any thoughts or comments on this stuff that I've shown you today, or would like to correct any of the highly likely many errors I made around, what am I doubting right now? I'm mostly doubting the scale of the McFarlane Batman figures. I think I've got myself upside down, back to front on that. Then drop into the comments down below. Would love to hear from you. In the meantime, I hope you have a wonderful day. Hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you around these parts again sometime soon for another video. All right, take it easy, folks.